I have a number of different ways that I approach yoga for back pain. One of the ways is through stretching. So, this class will focus on bringing the sensation of stretch to your back, but also the sides of your upper body. So we're going to start in a seat. You can bring a blanket to sit on top of just to elevate your hips. And as always, a strap and a couple of blocks by your mat is always very nice to have. If it feels comfortable to cross your legs, you can cross your legs in front of you. But if you prefer to extend your legs out in front of you because that feels better on your hips, then take this seated variation. And just notice if your shoulders are in front or behind your hips, and try to bring them right on top of your hips so it doesn't feel like you effort at all on the front or the back of your torso. If it feels comfortable, you can close your eyes and take a deep breath in through your nose. Try to breathe all the way down to your belly. Open your mouth and breathe out. Let's do that one more time. Deep breath in, just to bring your awareness back to yourself right here, right now, in your physical body, and breathe out. Take your left hand, place your left hand on top of your right shoulder, and just add a little bit of pressure. Just try to push your right shoulder down just a tad. No need to exaggerate or make it excessive. Take your left hand back to your left leg and switch your hands. Take your right hand to the top of your left shoulder and a gentle push down. Notice when you push down, if you start to feel a little bit of sensation on the top of your shoulder, and release your right hand, place your right hand on your right thigh. Breathe in and breathe out. We're going to take your right hand just off the side of your mat. Instead of going into a side stretch to start, just lean right. And then notice here how you might feel a little bit of sensation on the left side of your waist. And then bring yourself back to center, and we'll switch sides. Take your left hand off the side of your mat. Just lean towards the left, and then notice what you feel on the right side of your waist. And then come back to center. We're going to make that a little bit deeper now. So lean towards the right, and this time stay here, but take your left arm and reach it over your head towards the right side of the room. And without trying to get really deep in this side stretch here, just notice how this extension of your arm overhead feels. And then lower your left hand down to your thigh, come back to center and switch. Left hand, place it out. Take your right arm, just reach it over without trying to go deep. Place your right hand on your thigh, come back to center. Now we're going to go a little bit deeper, so take your right hand out, lift your left arm over your head. So right where we were the last time, you're going to stay right here. And then push into your right hand, and as you push down in your right hand, see how you arc your spine and come into a side stretch on the left side. You feel the difference there? We're going to stay over towards the right, but come out of that side stretch. So kind of feel or imagine how your rib cage moves a little bit. Push into your right hand again. Just push, push, push. Do you feel the stretch on the left side? And then come out of it. Place your left hand on your thigh. Come back to center and switch left hand out. Reach your right arm overhead where we started in the second variation. And now push into your left hand. Feel length on the right side. Stay over towards the left. Just come out of the side stretch a little bit. And then push again and feel the stretch on the right side. And come out. Lower your right hand to your right thigh. Bring your left hand to your left thigh and come back to center. We're going to C-curve your spine, so round your shoulders forward. And as you round your shoulders forward, you might feel like your pelvis moves a little bit. Let's tune into that movement as you come back to a neutral spine. So just sit all the way up. And then let's do it again. As you round your shoulders forward, can you sense the movement in your pelvis? Doesn't matter if your legs are crossed or if they're straight. Lift yourself back up. And let's do that 2 more times. Round your shoulders forward. Come back up to a seat. You feel your pelvis rock. Let's do it again. Round. And come back up to a neutral spine. When you come up to a neutral spine, we're going to scoot yourself forward off of your blanket if you're seated on one and just push it out of the way. Bring your legs around and behind you, and we'll meet on your hands and your knees. Once you come to your hands and your knees, wag your hips side to side. So what's really important about this movement right here, this wag of your hips side to side, is we're not going to take your shoulders with you in the movement. We're just going to let your pelvis sway side to side. And can you imagine how your pelvis pulls the lowest part of your spine into this S-like, snake-like swerve back and forth? All right, then come to center with your hips. We're going to move your pelvis again, only your pelvis. Just drag your tailbone in between your legs, point it down towards your mat. So this is not a full cat stretch, right? You still have your gaze towards your mat. Your neck is still, your shoulders are still. Now take your tailbone and just slightly lift your tailbone up towards the ceiling. You feel the difference between those two movements? Let's do it again. Drag your tailbone down and lift your tailbone up just slightly towards the ceiling. This time, when you drag your tailbone down, we're going to keep your tailbone down and just push your hips back as much as you can keep your tailbone down. So you probably won't push back a lot, because if you push back towards your heels, you come out of this posterior tilt of your pelvis, and we don't want that because we're trying to stretch the low back. And come back forward with your hips. Point your tailbone towards the back of your room so you're back in a neutral spine. Then walk both of your hands over towards the left side of your mat. Hands about shoulder width distance apart. And then push your hips back towards your right heel. You feel a big stretch up the right side of your upper body. Lift your hips and walk your hands over towards the right side of your mat. And as you walk your hands over towards the right, you're going to push your hips back towards your left heel. Notice what you feel up the left side of your body. And lift your hips and walk your hands back to center. Once you walk your hands back to center, bring your knees together to touch at the center of your mat. Squeeze your feet together and then press your hips back towards your heels. Now this time you can go back as far as feels comfortable on your ankles, your knees, and your hips. Either keep your arms out in front of you and rest your chest on your thighs, or you could rest on your forearms. And if it feels like you have the room to do it, maybe you bring your arms by your sides and rest your forehead down towards your mat. Just take 2 breaths here. And if your arms are by your sides, bring your hands back underneath your shoulders. If your arms are forward, slide your hands back so your hands are under your shoulders. Push into your hands and lift your chest. Lift your hips from your heels, and we'll meet back in a seat. So come to that comfortable seat that we started off in, whether it's with your legs crossed or your legs straight. Maybe you slide your blanket underneath your bottom and you sit with a neutral spine, slight tuck of your chin. You can either close your eyes or lower your gaze down towards your mat. And take a deep breath in through your nose. Open your mouth and breathe out. One more deep breath in. And breathe out. With your palms together to touch in front of your heart. I'll take a breath in to close this class. And when you breathe out, just whisper or say to yourself, Namaste. Thank you for joining me for this class. You could like or subscribe so that you are notified when I upload the next class. There's so much more to come. Thank you.